Are you not drinking anymore?
I quit.
Dude, good for you. Good for you.
Yeah, it's been over a year.
Shut up.
No.
That's crazy.
It was brutal though. It wasn't like I just walked up to like a place and was like, I'm not going to buy alcohol anymore. And I was in the hospital and shit.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it was kind of. This is a really great intro to the podcast.
Dude, you're one of my favorite people. I mean, you're one of my favorite human beings alive. And I love your Instagram. I feel like I see you and your son together, and it reminds me of when I was a young dad. We didn't have social media the way we did back then, but the way you play with him, it reminds me of when I was a young dad.
I know, and that. Well, I mean, this is going to be a huge bummer to everyone that drinks. I remember when I was drinking, I hated hearing people talk about this.
Oh, I
specifically
love
what happened to me, which is what my fear was, because I got Lyme disease. Like, I don't know, somewhere in Indiana. I guess I was doing Bloomington. Remember the movie Breaking Away?
Wait, you got Lyme disease as an adult?
Yeah, in a year and a half ago.
Holy shit! Lyme disease is like it's almost like being possessed, right? Like it's
weird. It's a thing that people don't fully get yet, and or understand, I should say. Like I don't get allergies, but I understand them.
I get allergies so bad. Allergies are crazy.
I get them.
Allergies are crazy because you don't realize you're just all of a sudden you're like, my throat hurts. I think I'm getting cancer. And then all of a sudden someone will be like, allergies are bad right now. And you're like, oh, that's right. That's why my throat hurts.
Also living here, in New York, I don't snore at all.
Really?
In Los Angeles, I snore like a demon, and I don't understand why. It's like it's such an odd thing, but yeah. So I got Lyme.
How did you get Lyme disease? Were you camping or something?
No. So have you seen the movie Breaking Away? That old bicycle movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in that movie, they jump into a quarry off like a huge rock.
Yeah.
My life's dream has been to find that quarry. So I was doing the Comedy Addict, and I asked around, and they were like, one guy's like, oh, one of my friends kind of has heard about where it is. It's on some private property. And so they took me, and like we hiked for 2 hours into this private property that was insane, with like signs like no trespassing, live ammunition, like all this shit. Got lost, and then found it and jumped into this beautiful quarry that I guess is going to be gone or is gone already.
Really?
But it's the same. It's like perfect, like the most green, weird colored blue water, you know, and it was amazing. And then I go from there to Montreal. And I mean, the kind of bender that I was on, I would say like I was in the lobby of the hotel in Montreal. This is where somebody found a tick in my forehead so I'd been there for like a week or something. But I was sitting in the lobby, and Mark Maron walked up, and he goes, "Hey man, heard you're not doing too hot." I was like, "What do you mean?" And he's like, "You look like shit, man." And he walked away. And same thing. Like I ran into Bert at like a grocery store, and he looked me up and down. And I mean, I did look like a monster. And he was like, "Man, I can't wait." Wait, let me find the exact words he said. "Oh, I can't wait to hear the concept album." And then when I ran into Marin again later, I was like, "Who told you I'm not doing well?" He's like, "I don't know, a few people, Bert, someone else." So I think it was like, because I'd gone on Bill's podcast, and I think I was really drunk, and but I mean, I was like a bottle and a half, 2 bottles of vodka a day, just solid for maybe 2-3 years, like nonstop.
Yeah, like
hiding booze, like drinking 24 hours a day.
I did that yesterday. I'm going through OCD. Sometimes my OCD will kick in really heavy, and it's
and you
panic.
have to organize all the alcohol into your stomach.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. No, yesterday was good. My wife's having this party. All these people came over at noon, and I got up at 6. I ranged the whole backyard. I started cooking briskets.
Early. I don't understand.
Oh yeah, I like it. And then I had a drink around like 1 o'clock, and then I had another one at like 2 o'clock. I fell asleep in the man cave. I woke up. And then it's like 4, we go over to the new house. We start having a few pops there. I have a cigar. And then we went and watched the movie Knives Out at a friend's house in their screening room. Passed out in their screening room.
I want to see that.
It's all right.
I want to see you guys passed out in the screening room.
But yeah, and then I woke up this morning going, at like 6 going, I got to go to Hot Spin. I got to flush this out.
Does that help you flush it out?
Oh my God. It rights my boat immediately. If you feel sketchy and hungover, I go to Hot Spin. It's about 95 degrees in there. It's been an hour. I come out, it's like I didn't drink the day before.
Yeah.
And I'm completely fine. And then, but I mean, the battle is tonight. I want to go. I get the vapors. I'm like, hey, what do we want? You guys want to go to an Italian restaurant? Like,
oh yeah. Then you get a martini. I mean, for me, then I just get a martini right away.
Yeah. So who found the tick?
That's a little dicey to talk about right now, but I'm in the midst of a few life changes that I have to kind of. There will be a nice moment where I could talk about all of it, but I think you can imagine what happened.
That would be a little dicey to share. Suffice to say, someone found a tick.
And I didn't think much of it, like the tick, and came back to LA. It was working. And
did they pull it out?
Yeah.
Okay.
Some tweezers, and I even kept it. And then I went back to LA and didn't think about it. And I was riding with my riding partner, and I was like, man, look at this weird mark on my arm. It's like, it must have been from wrestling with my son, because he grabs my arm sometimes. Like, he tries to hurt me, which I love. Like, when you really feel them try to scratch you with their nails, and you're like, oh, you tried to get one in there, huh? Oh, too bad daddy's big. But no, so I was like, my friend looked at it. Then a half hour later, I was like, did I tell you about the tick? And I tell him a story about the tick, and he's Googling, I have no idea. And he flips his computer on. The mark on my arm is a lesion that you get from Lyme disease. Like, and it hits you quick. Like, people say if you don't get the tick out within maybe less than 36 hours, the chance if the tick has Lyme's, you have it at that point, really. Yeah. So I got it out like a week later, and then sat with it dormant in my body for maybe a month or something. And immediately, like, everyone that that knows somebody that has Lyme's disease, like, I went to the doctor right away. But the thing is, you can't just go to doctors about Lyme disease. There's only a few that really understand how to get this out of your system. People that have chronic Lyme disease, like people that got a tick bite when they were 12, and then when they're 21, they're like, God, man, they just think life is normal, how tired they are and sore they are sometimes, and they find out, and it's just chronic, and it's there,
Yeah, I saw that. This is my only reference of Lyme disease. The girl from Real World Seattle had it.
Oh yeah,
and she had like a freak out mode, and she was like, and then she came back. She's like, guys, this is like, there's been a number of things where someone said something when I was a kid, and we didn't know that it was real. And she was like, I have Lyme's disease, and everyone started laughing. We were like, Lyme's disease? Yeah. Is that even a thing? And then you've come to realize you're like, oh, it's a legit thing.
Yeah. Well, I remember that too now. I can't. Yeah. But I remember whatever she said she had, to me, it was the equivalent of AIDS. I was like,
I know. Man, she's like, it's a serious death sentence. And I was like, wait, what? But so did you go to a doctor in LA?
So I go to this doctor in Malibu. That's like the second best doctor for it in LA. The other guy was just booked. So I'm at this guy in Malibu, and start treating it right away with like intense antibiotics and like a total diet change and like all these things that you have to, switch, but also running tests on my body. And so I had a friend die last summer, this musician named Richard Swift, who, if you haven't heard, you should listen to his whole library. He's amazing. And
I did it right now.
He died of alcoholism. I mean, he straight died of
Jesus Christ.
Booze. 44. It took the wind out of me in a way that I mean, like 4-day benders in my office, crying for 4 days, drinking, And I remember talking to his wife, and they were like, she was like, yeah, it was bad. And him and I had spoken 5 days before he in the hospital, which was then 2 days later, he was in hospice that quickly, just from drinking and liver and cirrhosis of the liver and the kidneys. And so she was somehow brought up, like, I was talking with her and her kids, and they were talking about, they went to Disneyland. Like, that was one of like the things they had done towards the end. And what I was like, man, how did he last at Disneyland all day? Because I've been wanting to take my son, but I seriously couldn't go more than an hour without drinking, because I was waking up in the middle of the night with my legs numb. I was waking up in the middle of the night, like with my heart hurting in a way that only downing the equivalent of 5 shots of vodka out of the hidden bottle that I have in the downstairs bathroom at 3 a.m. could save me from.
Wait, whoa. Like, it was legit. Like, it wasn't just
This was like Nick Cage shit.
Holy shit.
Movie. So, and Richard and I had spoken on the phone a week before this all happened, and he was in the same place. He was in his car, in the parking lot about to check himself into a place. And didn't work out, but he obviously. So I knew that I was there. I knew I was dying. I really did. You know, I'd been sober for 12 years at one point from like 17. I'd gone thrown into rehab when I was 17 or whatever. And just chalked it up to being a party kid and enjoyed loved the fact that I was sober from my 20s. Like that kind of kept me. I was like, I'm going to be healthy forever now. I was sober in my 20s.
Yeah.
In some way. But my 30s were just a blur of a bender. But then towards the end, so the doctor, and they had to run all these blood tests on me and stuff. And so finally I go in to meet with the doctor on a day. He closes the door, which he never closed. And he sat down and he goes, I need to talk to you about drinking. He's like, well, I smell you. I can smell it on you. I've smelt it on you every time. You're dying. You have 365 enzymes in your liver. And I was like, what is that? What's normal? And he said 6. So I don't know if I remember that correctly. I know that it was that drastic of a number difference.
Yeah, when your enzymes bump up, usually it can mean you're sick, like you have a cold or something. Your enzymes will try to fight it, but for the most part, it's that was why I quit drinking. That's why I started losing weight. So my enzymes were up, not shockingly, but they were elevated. And my doctor's like, you're getting a fatty liver. Like if you get a fatty liver, that turns into cirrhosis. But for me, it was my weight. He was like, it's not. He's like, you're 268 pounds or 258 pounds. He was like, of course your drinking's adding to it because you're drinking and that's why you're fat. Mm-hmm. So you need to lose weight. And so that scared the shit out of me. I lost 35 pounds and was like, how about now? And he was like, oh, you're good. And then I just go right back to where I was and fucking try to keep it off.
I know. Well, that's the thing too, is he didn't say like, you need to cut back. He was like, you're absolutely dying. You're on your deathbed right now. You need to quit right now. And he like gave me some plan and we like set up this thing of like medications he was going to put me on. And I just knew, like, I'm sitting there like, it's not going to work. So I left and I had like a quarter of a bottle of Tito's in my car. I mean, I was drinking and driving like every day. I was just drinking out of a bottle of Tito's driving down San Fernando. Like finished that quarter, bought another fifth, went up into the canyon, like parked off a canyon road in Malibu, left my car and walked into the canyon with a bottle, just thinking like, well, this is it. And then the thing that kind of brought me out of it was thinking, well, okay, so if I do die down here, if I go down here and decide not to die, because I knew that I could just drink that bottle and I think I would die. If I did that, if I decide not to, then I might have a ticket on my car and I might get a DUI. So I kind of had like that down halfway down the canyon, go back up, called Dave Becky, my manager, and just said, my hands are up, man. Put me into rehab. Like now. It has to happen right now or else it's not going to happen.
Jesus.
And my buddy, my writing partner, Kevin, too, was involved and they came, grabbed me, put me into rehab. And when I went in, I blew a 3.8, a 0.38. And as calm as could be, answering questions, talking. 2 days in. So, you go into rehab like this, they're just trying to keep you alive and keep you comfortable through the detox.
How do they do that?
Different medications like Ativan, which is basically,
Same.
Ativan.
Yeah.
And then something else, I can't think of the name right now. That's like a pretty serious one that's used for like detoxing. Like they use it for multiple different types of detox, but, and then they wean you off of it once you're through the ultimate, but the reality of alcohol and benzos, Ativan, benzos, those are the only two things that can absolutely kill you if you stop.
Yeah.
Like
why? How can alcohol kill you if you stop? Is that
your body will just heart attack, seizure? They're the two things that if you are that addicted, if you are as addicted as I was, if your body was as addicted, then it will just shut down. And that's what happened with Richard. That's what happened. And they weren't able to keep him alive.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And so I was in there for a day and a half. Things were normal. I thought things were normal. I mean, I wasn't feeling good. And I was having outer body experiences. I was having what they call DTs, which are delusional tremors, which are actual, like when they finally like told me about the things that were happening that I was talking about casually, they were keeping a very close eye on me. Like, cause I brought up a horse that I'd seen on the property, no horses. There was a French bulldog that could have sworn was on the other side of this like ivy fence that I was like literally on the ground, like in the bushes thinking, and one of them had brought me out and they're like, Nick, that property is under construction. Nobody lives there. Do you really think a French bulldog would be on that property? Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Maybe a coyote, like, but, and so I didn't know how bad it was getting. And then I tried to escape on this night. Like I really was losing. I thought that Craig Robinson was there and directing a movie that I was starring in. And I was talking to everybody there as if like, when's Craig going to get here? And like, God, it's so cool that he's directing now. Like that kind of stuff. Like, and they had no idea. They had to go with it with me. And I guess one of the guys said, okay. And I was like, well, here's the thing is I haven't read the script, so I don't know what the scene is. And the guy goes, the scene is you lay on that couch and act like you're asleep. And I guess that's what they were like, see these cameras? And there were obviously those are what we're catching it all on. It's all like,
Jesus.
And so I like lay on and then that night, so then they put me back to bed. And then they found me naked in the backyard at like 3 a.m. and rushed me to Santa Robles Hospital, 3 a.m, naked, seizuring. And the hospital called code on me, which is like, whoever's available, just please get here now. And the only thing I know from that moment was I woke up for a brief second and I still remember it kind of. It's so weird. And I woke up and there was a doctor above me and he's like, Nick, you're tied down because you were being combative. And I like look down and my arms are tied down and I'm fully naked and there's people all around me. And he's like, we're trying to keep you alive. And then I'm just gone away. And then I wake up, I think 3-4 days later in the hospital room, still confused. I didn't quite understand what was happening. I guess there was a phone in there. It'd be great to hear what Al Madrigal has to say right now.
Really?
Because I called Al while I was in there. I still don't know why, but I was told that I called Al Madrigal. I've never actually asked him about what I talked about, but I know that I'd called a few people and was not clear, not making sense, not, you know. And I guess a big thing too was that everyone that talked to me was like told like he's gonna ask about his clothes. He doesn't have any, but he won't understand that. So just say that your clothes are there.
Jesus.
So then I just got back into rehab after that, after like 7 days in the hospital, and then stayed for 50 days. And while I was in rehab, my rehab burnt down in the Malibu fires.
Oh, that's when you were in rehab.
So I woke up at like 8:30, go out, and the whole house is, you know, it was smoking. The day before it was like outside, it was like fiery, you know, but you never think it's going to like really come close. It's not really happening, you know?
Yeah.
And everybody's like frantic, and I'm in the kitchen making lemon water, which I'd started doing every morning. And I'm like, hey, so do you know if we're gonna have to evacuate or not? And they're like, we have to be out of here in 10 minutes. And they just forgot to wake me up. I was like the last room on this property, and they just didn't wake me up. So I grabbed all my shit, got out, and the house burnt down within 2 hours of evacuation.
Holy fuck! So wait, where do they take you when your house burns down?
We went up to some Airbnb in Oxnard or something like, yeah, but. People like that was a great excuse for people to just go back out and drink.
God
like,
wants me to drink.
Yeah, obviously we're not supposed to be in rehab.
The Lord burn it down, guys.
Oh God. But I knew that like my life was over if I wasn't gonna stop.
So when did you see a shift in the way your brain was thinking in rehab? When did you go, oh yeah, I'm gonna try to do this?
Well, I only went in because I was going to try to do it, you know.
But like,
there's kids in there that don't want to be in there, and you like. I remember a couple times I would be sitting in a group, and I'd be like, "Listen, just because your mom and dad sent you here doesn't mean you have to say stupid shit. I'm actually trying to fucking learn."
So the whole time in there, you were like,
"Yeah,
I'm gonna make this work."
Yeah, I mean, but it was also amazing. You know, I was in Malibu. I was like treated like a celebrity. Dave Becky got me in. Like I got to take on my own, like they would take me to the grocery store where no one else was going. And I got to like walk around these grocery stores. But I remember the first time I went, I had a full on panic attack in the because I still couldn't be around people. I was starting to get that way about drinking. Like I just couldn't be around people. I was having anxiety and I never understood anxiety. You know,
I remember you came over here one time and did a podcast, and it was I'd never seen anyone do it, but I was like, I was like, oh yeah. In my head, I've always actually justified that behavior if it ever happens to me that, oh, Nick did it, so it's fine. But you were like, I remember you came in and we were about to start podcast. You're like, I got to take a pull. You mind? And I was like, yeah. And you just grabbed the first bottle, like a bottle of vodka, and just took a pull. And I mean, you can see the video. You can find the video. And I remember going, do you want me to make you a drink? And you were like, yeah, I'd love a drink. And I was like, oh, I'll have a drink. And it was like, 10 in the morning. And I mean, I swear to God, Nick, I've actually had, my brain's a little more, punitive. Like if I'm hungover, if I had too much to drink, my body, my brain wants to punish my body. Like it wants me to do stuff I don't normally want to do. Get up, go get a coffee, go work out, go for a run, go for a hike.
Fight it.
Yeah, like, and I can never succumb to it. Like many mornings you wake up hungover, you're like, hair of the dog, we'll start the day off. But I can't do that for some reason. But I've always thought that if I needed to, I could do it and justify it because you did it. I remember it's
I remember that.
Such a funny, you're like, I could use a little tug. And I was like, hey, I'm hungover too. I was like, well, we're podcasting. I'm making money. I'm working.
Yeah.
But
and then we proceeded to drink the whole time.
Yeah. And then I never knew you were drinking like that though. Like I never even seeing it. I'm so naive sometimes.
People didn't know I was really good at hiding
I followed you on Instagram all the fucking
time. Keep my
time.
shit together.
You it never seemed like you ever had any inkling of a problem.
The thing is I looked like, I mean, like if you look at pictures of me now compared to then, like my face was like just like bloated, like just total alcohol. Like that's those are like the small things that kind of happen in the beginning of quitting, where you're like, oh, I look better. Wow.
Yeah.
My skin's better. My, all the things that you try and hold on to that are bonuses that because you miss all the things that you love about drinking.
Yeah.
Especially going into the holidays. Jesus.
I
was telling someone today, if I punch my brother this year, it's because he deserves it. No, that won't be the alcohol talking.
Your family's big. Like I always think like a big beer family too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like get out in the boat. Let's have a beer.
Beer. Let's get out and have a fist fight on Christmas Eve and shotgun a beer afterwards.
What did you like? Did your parents have any idea?
Everyone knew.
Oh,
Everyone that's close to me that knew me. And the thing is, I was just kind of losing myself. Like that's when you see that somebody's really an alcoholic and like really going down this path, they just have lost themselves. Like I'm not me, like
yeah.
you can't have conversations with me. I remember I was meant to pitch a TV show that 4 days after I went into rehab, I had meetings at ABC, NBC, Fox, CBS, all the networks to pitch a network show, and with my writing partner, and they had to cancel all of those, but we were meeting with people. He's like, I had already talked to Dave about your drinking because I could tell that you weren't okay. Like we were not going to have those meetings if you didn't decide you wanted to go to rehab. We were still going to cancel them. And I just sold the show a month ago, the same exact show, a year sober, just on a phone call to somebody like, hey, you should make the show. I'm going to email it to you. And they're like, yeah, great. ABC's going to do it. I'm like, cool. Because sober, it's just easy to do shit for me.
Sober, it's. I mean, I do. I do October every year, and then the fallout is that I have big chunks of sobriety throughout November, December, and then, what happens to me is I start a tour up again, or in this case, I'll be doing TV, so I don't know if I'll be drinking, but like once I go on tour, that's when I feel the wheels come off a little bit, and like I always gain
it's
weight.
Hard not to,
dude. It's so hard to be on a tour bus not drinking.
Yeah,
especially when it's like your brand is around it. I've always been trying to be careful to make sure that I have somewhat of a grasp on it, but I think there's. I think there are some people like I don't think there's any way to
make good choices though.
Like, I'm
you never find yourself in an almost fight when you're alone in a city, right? Or like,
No.
yeah.
I'm a friendly drunk, and I, you know, if we get down to the base of it, I drink to get rid of. Sometimes I drink to go to sleep. Like that's, I mean, basically,
Yeah.
I'll open a bottle of wine. So I'm like, it's the end of the day. If I have a glass of wine, I'll fall asleep. Not a glass. Who has one glass?
Yeah.
Fuck it, just looking to stain
I
your
mean,
teeth.
technically a bottle is glass.
I take a bottle is glass.
Yeah.
So I
Just
have
have
one
a glass of wine.
wine.
It's a fucking weird shaped, thick glass, but
When was the first time you went back out on the road sober?
I think I went to like Peoria. Like I just said, start giving me gigs. I don't care.
And give me gigs that make me want to drink. We're
Yeah.
gonna test this out.
But you know, like in Peoria, I went to an AA meeting and it was like 70-year-old men.
Oh, you going to AA meetings?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
those seem fun.
See, I knew that it was like this thing that I had. I was talking to my friend that, I mean, had a major pill like problem and
By the
all
way,
this shit.
I completely understand pill problems.
Me too. I went through a pill phase as well.
I get pills. Like pills are no joke. I say this with a bottle of fucking Xanax next to me, because there have been many of times, and I think once again I go to this punitive part of my brain is I definitely had a pill problem when I was we'll save names, but I had a friend and he had a pill problem, and it kind of spilled over into me because it wasn't frowned upon because we both technically had anxiety. So
yeah.
And then I just, of course, in my brain, I'm like, I'm always going to want a beer, and a beer with a pill is maybe like the warmest blanket you'll ever get. And then 2 beers with a pill, but then 6 beers with a pill, and I can understand Radiohead songs, like mathematically.
But what pill?
Xanax. It was always Xanax.
Oh.
I had a problem with OxyContin too. I had a problem.
That phase.
I fell off a waterfall, and I couldn't. And I almost broke my back. I thought I broke my back, but they sent me home. I couldn't even like.
So it started with pain.
Started with pain, and they prescribed me oxys, and I was like, I took one, and I was like, nice. And then I was like, I'm gonna be careful. I'm not gonna get addicted to these. And I was in a hotel bed the next day, and I didn't take it. I didn't take it in the middle. I didn't wake up to take it, and I couldn't get out of bed, and I had to piss in the bed. I was stuck in the bed, and I was like, that will never happen again. I will always be on top of my pills. And man, cut to my wife.
So you were conscious.
Oh,
and you were just like, well.
And then I did.
I ripped out my catheter in the hospital. By the way, I had a condom catheter. You know what those are?
I can guess what it.
Yeah,
sounds like.
And I ripped it off, and then I don't remember this. This is what I was told, but there was somebody there that was visiting me, and they said that the nurse came back in, and she was like, "Here, do you want to put it back on?" And I was like, "No." I mean, what else? When else am I gonna have a nurse do this? Come on, just do your damn job.
Oh, yeah.
Don't give me the option. Now I feel like a creep by asking you to do it.
I remember the first time they gave me. I just told someone this, I'm sure, but I got after I fell off the waterfall. They brought me into the emergency room, and they had to roll me over on my side to get pictures of my ribs and my back, and they said to me, we're going to give you Dilaudid. I knew what that was from Johnny Knoxville. And they're like, it's basically heroin. We're going to give you heroin to get. And I was like, hold on. I was like, I don't want it. I got a bad brain. Something like that. I don't want to even know what that side of the world feels like.
Oh, yeah.
And she was like, honey, if I don't give it to you, you will be in the most excruciating pain in your life trying to get these photographs of your back. I need to give it to you. So I grabbed my phone, and I was like, all right, well, if you're going to give it to me, I'm writing a poem. So I was like, it's Kurt Cobain's favorite drug. So I hit voice record, and it hit me. My face got warm, and all I could say was, oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. I'm such a meathead.
Oh, the way warmth kind of blankets you.
Oh. But yeah, I mean, I get all of that.
I remember I was in a pill phase where I forgot my pills and my passport at home, and was on my way to, I forget where, and I was at the airport, and I called my buddy, and I was like, you need to get my pills and my passport and get him to the airport. And I was coming down off pills so bad, and I was in a line that was like waiting to rebook my ticket because I was going to miss my flight, and I was lying on the ground and in this line, and every time the line moved, I would just slide my backpack and move over more. And I remember at one point, some guy was there, and I was like, sir, could you get me a glass of water? He was like, no.
Sir, if you could just see your way clear, one glass of water, maybe a cheeseburger over there, I'll spot you.
Is there anything out here in the terminal? Pills are, man, they're so good.
Oh, the dirtiest deed I ever did on pills, like the one eyebrow raiser where you're like, is I fell off the waterfall. I came back, called the doctor in North Carolina and said, hey, my back still hurts. I need more pills. He was like, no problem. And then my doctor here called and said, hey, I understand you fell off a waterfall. Do you need me to refill a prescription? And I went, yeah, of course I do. My wife found out and was like, I remember I was laying in bed and I rolled over to get a pill and they were gone. And I looked up and she was standing there. She said, you're done, big boy. And I said, what? She goes, you are done. She goes, go get a prescription of marijuana, drink your fucking face off. You are not eating pills anymore. And I was like, hold on, these are prescribed. She goes, I don't give a fuck. She's like, you're done. And we were going camping that week. Sleeping on the ground. And I was like, baby, you gotta give me like 5 more days of pills. 5 more days. She's like, you're negotiating for drugs. You're never getting them. And so I went and I got a prescription for marijuana. I remember going in and being like, I fell off a waterfall. And the guy's like, yeah, listen, you don't have to do that. Just tell me you have a hard time sleeping.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I fell off a fucking waterfall.
You'd always do my trick.
What's that?
I have anxiety that someday my back might hurt. And they will just write you up.
Oh, that was back in the day when you had to get a prescription. But I remember we got high. I haven't been high in forever. I mean, I gotten high a few times, but I hadn't gotten like high by myself high. And I was we were in Costco and I kept saying, the lighting in here is phenomenal. And I was like, and my wife's like,
that's what? Yeah.
I was like, the lighting. So are you smoking cigarettes?
I'm chewing.
Oh.
I've got one in right now.
Are you serious?
I just put them in and leave them.
What is it, a snooze?
I don't spit.
Is it just dip? Or?
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm. It's brutal. It's what I used to do when I was younger. Because I like fishing and stuff. I would just like live with chew in my mouth, and then I quit. Copenhagen.
Oh my,
it's bad. I know, and I want to get into this nicotine stuff. That's not snooze. It's nothing. It's just straight, because tobacco's the thing that kills us.
Yeah.
Nicotine can raise your heart and do all those things, but that's not what's given us cancer. So I think I just need to. I think it's just tough, man. I love the taste.
I've always said to myself in like an OCD bet, if I ever put another dip in my mouth, I'll get mouth cancer immediately. Mm-hmm. And it's been how long? When was the last time I chewed? See, I dipped all through college, dipped and smoked cigarettes all through college, and then quit everything. Quit drinking for like 6 months back in when I first met Leanne, like right around then. Quit drinking, and I was at the Rite Aid on Fairfax and Sunset, and I saw chewing tobacco, and I just, as a lark, like
I know that
Red Man, and I went, maybe I'll have a chew tonight. I don't know, make a cigar or a chew. I was like, let me get a thing of Red Man, and I put it in my cheek, and immediately the nicotine hit me, and I'd never had gotten a buzz from chewing ever. Oh yeah, ever. I'd gotten a buzz from dipping anymore, but not Red Man, and I was back on 100%. I couldn't stop, and I kept chewing. The last chew I took was we drove from Atlanta, or roughly where Leanne grew up, just outside Leanna and Bowden. We drove from Bowden to Key West, and I had a bag of chewing tobacco, and on the drive I had it, my heart was just racing and I wasn't enjoying it, and I was like,
I like how you went with Red Man too. I mean, that's
golden blend.
I don't like Red Man.
Oh, I love Red Man Golden Blend. Tastes so fucking good.
The taste isn't bad, but I would always rather have snuff than have. If you balled up shit in my cheek.
The problem with snuff for me is I cannot quit it. Once I start it, if I mean, like, I would always be like, oh, I'll just be the guy that has one dip every now and then. But the second I put it in my mouth, it's like I'm home. It's like I want to tell you a story. I want to hear a story. Mm-hmm. I want people to get in a circle and have like a church.
It's like
group
me on
meeting.
Vicodin.
God, I miss tobacco. I smoke cigars.
Yeah.
But
You don't inhale?
no.
My dad inhales cigars.
Really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
My dad smokes like backwoods, like those Clint Eastwood-y,
Yeah.
like long.
Look like they've been rolled by Jesse James.
Yes. He smokes those like, I don't actually, maybe he quit now. It's been a while, but I'll find out over the holidays. But yeah, that was his thing. And that it's just like haggard,
Oh my God. So how did your son notice?
The drinking?
Yeah.
I think I got out okay. I remember someone in rehab telling me that her dad was sober ever since she was 5, and she doesn't ever remember him drinking. And that's right about when I got sober, like right around his 5th birthday. I was in rehab for his birthday. It sucked, but
it's better.
Yeah, I was like, it's
at least you'll see the 6th.
Better for other birthdays.
Yeah.
But it makes me a better parent, 100%. I mean,
how is the amends process?
Still in the mix of that. Like,
really?
Yeah, I'm taking it slow. I'm like, also I've been like busy, like all the reasons, there's some people run through the steps like quick. Other people take years. Some people never do them.
Oh, really?
I mean, that's not like suggested. What's suggested is you take the steps.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I was like, so wait, hold on. I'm trying to get him.
My first 12 years of sobriety, I did not do the steps. I just was sober and went to meetings because I liked the meetings. And like the actual program of it is, and they talk about like all the treasures and like the things that you get. Once you go through these things, the feelings that you have, and it's so true. I mean, it's just as basic as tackling the things that you need to tackle that are in front of you. You know how you're saying like on the way in, just being overwhelmed, too much going on. I get that way so easy in my, especially when you have like a trip coming up and you're like, okay, so I've got to pack, like everything that you have to do starts like hitting you, and I got to spend time with this person or else they're going to think that I'm not caring or this and that. And that's the one thing I just now am like, the only way out is through. It's kind of this idea of loving pain. I just to be able to say out loud, I love pain. Just give me pain, because if you accept that, then it doesn't hurt as much because you are saying to give, like this, somebody told me this story of like this running back who wasn't the best, like high school Texas guy, like wasn't the best, wasn't the fastest, but he didn't care about pain. So the first play of every game, he took the ball and just ran it down the middle. Didn't care what happened. Didn't care if he gained, didn't care if he didn't, and just got hit. And at that point on, he wasn't avoiding getting hit. He was running into it.
Yeah.
Whereas like everyone else is dancing around trying not to get tackled, and he's just like, yeah, fucking run into tackles, and it's like that with life. As far as like once I got sober, I was like, okay, here's all the shit that I need to run into, and just, the feeling when you make the call that you haven't wanted to make for weeks, and you're like, oh, the second you make it, you're like, why didn't I do that 2 fucking weeks ago?
No, there's nothing better than getting something off your plate like that, especially
Everything.
Like emotionally. I've had conversations. I've had conversations where I was sweating on the anticipation of the conversation.
Yeah.
And then you have them and you get out, you're done. You're like, that wasn't as bad.
And the amount of brain power that goes into it beforehand.
Yeah. And then you think of all these people like that enjoy confrontation, and you're like, oh, they just like getting shit off their plate. Like they just like being like, oh, I'm getting in front of this.
Yeah. Well, it's also like it's the difference between aggression and being assertive. To be aggressive, it's like, no compromise. This is what I want. Give it to me, kind of running through. And to be assertive is to stand out and say, hey, this is what it is. I'm willing to compromise with you on it, but like, let's just figure it out, And
have you been going to therapy?
Yeah.
Oh, how's that?
I mean, I've always been in and out of therapy, but for the first time, I'm telling the truth. I mean, I've gone from a therapist. I've had a therapist tell me that she didn't think it was working out.
Yeah.
In the past, this older woman, it really hurt me. It's like, but I don't know why, because I was fucking lying to her. I was I was trying to make her think like, wow, look at this nice young man that comes in here.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm jerking off in the parking lot and just watch porn all the time. Like,
oh God.
Which I finally got through, which I love. Like, there were times in my life where it was just like, that was something bogging me down. And I'm not like this anti-porn guy. I love it. But I finally realized like, oh man, you got to get out of your hotel room. Nothing is going to make you happy. You are going to keep looking.
There's no worse feeling in the world than waking up hungover, watching porn, jerking off. And as soon as That's done like 5 minutes later going, maybe if I jerked off today, you're like, I already spent it.
Oh, damn it.
Damn it, I already did that. Shit, I got nothing.
Well, and it's that feeling too, like, going into therapy and being like, so what's your sexual life like? Perfect. Great. Whereas like, well, I watch porn every day and, oh, let's talk about that. So, that's just like the small detail of all of the shit that I was never talking. Oh God, I love this. I had a therapist that was like $300 a session.
Wow.
And I got him from my buddy that like writes big movies. And he was like, this is the guy. He's the best, He lives up in a canyon, cold water somewhere, like up there, Nichols Canyon or something. And drive in, and it's this gravel driveway, huge house that he only lives in 3 days of the week. His whole family lives in a mansion in San Francisco. And you go down into this little area where it's like a room like this, and there's a couch, and there's like, sand to like rake and all that shit, and highlights magazines. And every time I'd gone, it was just me. Like every time I pull in, it's no other car there. And I walk in, and sure enough, the guy's there. This time I pull in, and a car had pulled in right in front of me, but like 50 yards ahead of me. They park, and I see a guy get out, an older man. Can't really make him out. He kind of clocks me a little bit. You can tell that he's like, what's this other car doing here? He walks down into the room. I park. And it's weird. It's probably just someone paying or something. I don't know. Go down, and it's fucking Ray Liotta is sitting in the waiting room for this doctor. And he's like got a pair of glasses on, and he's like looking at like highlights or something. He like looks up at me and goes back. And I'm sitting there like raking, like, Jesus, like, and he goes, so he looks down, he sees my wedding ring. He's like, you married? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, what do you do? I'm like, comedian. He's like, yeah, we talk a little bit. And then he goes, what time's your appointment? And I said, 2:30. And he goes, that motherfucker. He fucking double booked us. Fuck. And he goes, okay, here's what we're going to do. When he walks out, I'm going to stand up and start screaming at him. And I'm going to walk out. And I want you to stop me at the door. And before I can even be like, what the fuck? The doctor walks out, and he said, you motherfucker, you fucking double booked me for the last fucking time. And he goes to the door, and I'm like, Ray, no,
Ray, wait.
Ray, you have the appointment. You need it more than I do. And he turns around and he goes, no, you're married. You need it. And he walked out. And I look at the doctor, and I was like, that was all. He put that whole thing together. He was like, this happens a lot. And I was like, oh, God.
I'm his therapist. You don't have to defend him.
He doesn't really have a grip on his schedule.
Oh, that's fucking great.
Yeah. So funny.
Oh, that's so awesome.
But just everyone's seeking therapy, everyone's whatever. And I understand people that don't go to therapy. I myself am small-minded is what I like to think. And I need to say things in front of somebody in some form of accountability. Somebody that is not attached to my life, that I could just be like, yeah, I had this thought where I thought, I don't care if she dies. Like, honestly, I actually started thinking of the benefits of if she died.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're talking about my neighbor. And I can't say that to my buddy or anybody,
No,
and the doctor's like, okay, well, what is this aggression about, and like death? And I'm like, I don't know. I just want to fucking kill her. And that's normal. How many times have you wanted to, for a second, say you want to kill somebody or do something, or have you ever wanted to fucking drive off a bridge? Like
today, for the first time ever in my entire life, I was in a very vulnerable moment. I was showing something to Leanne. I needed her attention, and my daughter Isla. This actually happened yesterday. My daughter Isla showed up. She's painting Saturn, and I said, "Hey, what do you think?" And Leanne goes, "What do you think about what she painted?" And I was like, "Hold on." In my head, I wanted to go, "Well, listen, I'm a wreck right now. You know that I'm not doing well. You know that my brain is very fragile, and I'm repeating thoughts over and over again, and it's making me crazy. You know that." And you know that I'm trying to hold it together, and I just need your attention for 2 seconds. And my wife did this big dick move where she kept going, no. What do you think? Your daughter's holding something. Your daughter's holding, and I felt like going, that fucking Saturn doesn't pay the goddamn bills around here. So let's fucking prioritize. And I felt like I got so fucking mad that I was like, oh, if That's when you hit a woman. Like that's where your brain. That's where my brain went. That's why, like in the 20s, how you go, woman smack. But I didn't grow up like that, so I didn't think about hitting her. But I was on today. I was still chewing up. I was like, that one incident spun me out really bad for the day. That one incident, and it spun me out this morning. I was still fucked up over that one incident, and I was in spin, and that's when I thought I was so angry. I could have fucking just wanted to grab her and choke her. And then I was like, and then I had that thought. I was like, oh, that's when they would have hit women.
That's when women died.
That's when back in the day when a man would hit a woman, that's when he'd do it. And I was so fucking angry at her. And then we're still fighting today.
Yeah, that'll bleed over for days.
We're still fighting because she knew it. She knew that I was fragile, and she doesn't understand any sort of. My wife doesn't understand weakness very well. Mm-hmm. And so like, even in her weak moments, she doesn't see them as weak moments. She finds them to be powerful because she's standing up for herself in a weak moment. I don't get it.
She's learning. Yeah.
And so like when I say to her, hey man, I can't stop repeating this song lyric and it's making me a little crazy. And I need you to like, and I say this, I'll go, hey, come in the bed. Let's cuddle. Let's talk. Let's change, get my dinner. And she'll go, seriously, I'm so fucking busy. And I felt like going, we're we're dangling by a fucking thin line here. We're having a rough fucking day. But nope.
And it's you know what it is too, that this is what I've had to learn is because I can be confrontational and I can say shit right away.
Yeah.
And I've been using this method called pause, where it's just what it is. It's just taking a pause. It's like hearing what is being said to you, knowing exactly what you want to say, but knowing I am allowed to pause in anything. Even if you ask me right now, hey, could you do my show tomorrow at the Improv? I don't have to immediately say yes, no.
Yeah.
I could take a pause and think, okay, what's my life like? Do I want to do that tomorrow? I don't owe anyone an answer or a response immediate. And I've learned to I've really kind of put that into everything. Like initial email response, let's check back in an hour.
Yeah.
And I've even started saying people like, you know what you just said, I need some time. And why wouldn't I get it?
If you're like me, you've got lots and lots of stuff you no longer use, or maybe even never use, stuff that doesn't spark joy in your life. Now that the new year's here, it's time to finally deal with all that stuff. And I'm not talking about hiding in the closet. I'm talking about selling it on Mercari. You know Mercari, the selling app. The selling app that makes selling almost anything fast and easy. So here's where you begin. Go through your home and find all the stuff you didn't use in 2019. That phone in the drawer, the pair of jeans you only wore once, the handbag hiding in the back of your closet. Listing it takes just minutes. You take a few pics, add a description, and boom, your item's connected to millions of buyers on the app. Mercari will even email you a shipping label when it sells. Everything ships, so there's no awkward meetup with strangers, which is great now that it's dark at night. The app has over 500,000 reviews on the App Store with an average rating of 4.8. So why not give it a try? Ring in the new year with less stuff in your home and more money in your pocket with Mercari. That's Mercari, 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 the selling app. This podcast is also brought to you by Blue Apron. I absolutely love Blue Apron. As a matter of fact, my wife's cooking a Blue Apron in the kitchen as we speak. Here's the question, though. Can healthy be delicious? Blue Apron thinks so. And with their new health-conscious menu featuring a range of ready-to-cook meals made with lean proteins, whole grains, minimal dairy, and flavor-packed produce, the New Year's is looking bright, and we all want to lose weight over the New Year's. Discover balance with the weekly recipes that range from grain bowls to curries to salads to stir fries. The beginning of a new year is always a great time to reevaluate your lifestyle and your eating habits. Blue Apron believes a healthy lifestyle starts with a balanced relationship with food and knowing exactly what goes into each meal. Because you chop it, grate it, zest it, sear it, season it, and plate it into existence, it's all done from the comfort of your own home. You know what you're putting into your body because you are making it yourself. Create a personalized plan that works for you with Blue Apron's ever-changing mix of plant-forward, vegetarian, carb-conscious, Mediterranean, diabetes-friendly, WW-approved, and 500 calories or less options. Choose from a variety of chef designs, ready-to-cook meals with perfectly portioned ingredients and lots of flavorful options, all sent directly to your door. Best of all, Blue Apron helps me disconnect from my phone and connect with my family, discover my inner chef, learn new recipes, new techniques. I've said this forever. I'm closer with my family because of Blue Apron. We've got a thing we do together. So forget looking at food on social media. Connect with your family. I'm actually talking about taking time to plate my meals, put it out on the table for my family, and really enjoy it. And I remember why I love cooking, because Blue Apron has exposed me to delicious recipes I wouldn't have thought to try. With Blue Apron, the hard parts are done for me. Cooking isn't a burden anymore. In fact, it's actually fun to learn new kitchen skills with each meal. Blue Apron chef design recipes include amazing specialty sauces, and premium ingredients blends that otherwise would be difficult, expensive, or time-consuming to source or make. So create a healthy mealtime routine that works for you in this 2020. Check out this week's menu and get $60 off when you visit blueapron.com/Bertcast. That's blueapron.com/Bertcast. Blue Apron, feed your soul.
And why wouldn't I get it?
I said today, and I thought it was a really powerful statement. So many people are so quick to send a text, send an email. Something happens and they want to reply immediately. I had some guy fucking treated me very disrespectfully when I didn't feel like he should have. I felt like I'd done a lot for this guy, and he did something really like kind of fucking. I think he's going through his own problems, but
yeah, we all are.
But it was not at the time I wanted to deal with it, and I wrote this email, and then I paused and I said, you know what? I'm not gonna reply. And I thought to myself, so often people reply, but then the thought I had today was, they only know you're crazy if you talk. Like if you don't talk, then no one knows you're out of your fucking mind.
Yeah, no one knows all of the shit you've thought about.
All the crazy shit that goes on in my head. I'm like, let's shut the fuck up every now and then.
Well, here's something I did that changed the game for me. I had major mom issues, like blocked her on my phone. Like we haven't spoken for a year and a half.
Really?
And
so funny. I had some major mom issues recently too.
And I was suggested by somebody to write a letter from my mom to me with all of the things I wish she would say. And I did. And if it's not the most beautifully written letter I've ever seen in my life.
You send it to her?
No. It's just, I read it. It was to me from her, you know? And it's like this thing where like now, like apologizing, breaking down the reasons, like, yeah, of course, because I did this to you and the way that I treated you like this, that's why you have a problem with this. And now you need to man up to that, you know, or in my mind, I'm like, okay, now she said sorry. Now I need to man up to this, like whatever this issue is, you know. But it was just free. It's like writing the email to somebody that you don't send. But in this sense, it was really like good to just carefully craft all of these overwhelming feelings I have surrounding her every time I think about her.
Have you always had a problem with your mom?
Yeah.
Really?
Since birth, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't have problems with my parents per se, but I will say that there are like this is gonna sound really fucking crazy. My dad has always been obsessed with my weight, like always. I mean, to the point where it was like, if I was, he would never do it to my sisters. But I mean, I like it's like him looking. He looks at me through this like fucking like a carnival mirror. So like every time he sees me, all he can see is fat.
Is he overweight?
Or he has been. He's not right now. Right now he's really skinny. And he has been really skinny, but he's never done it. He ran marathons his whole life. And like he was an obsessive runner, like hardcore runner. And then, you know, he gained a lot of weight in his 40s and he got up to like 276 is his fattest. But he'll send me texts of pictures of him when he was fat and be like 276. Like now that he's lost weight, 276. Can you believe that? 276. What's your weight at, buddy? And then you're just like, I don't want to do. By the way, my weight was never an issue to me my entire fucking life until other people, it was an issue with them. I was like, I can't imagine what a real fat person must feel like. Like, like a real mess. Like what they fucking must get it from everywhere.
Also, that they don't hear it on every time they post an Instagram where someone says Bert's fat or something.
Oh, that's all. I mean, it's so funny, but that one inside joke that Tom and I had that became, big for both of us plays so. I mean,
close to the line.
Oh, it plays so much to my sincere insecure. Like I do shit. I can't believe I'm going to share this. I feel like this has been a very, very open, freeing podcast.
Mm-hmm.
This past Christmas, Thanksgiving, I woke up one day, I was feeling a little overweight, and I went to Hot Spin, and I went and I worked out. I went to Hot Spin in the morning. I didn't eat lunch. I got on the treadmill, and I ran 5 miles on the treadmill, and I felt really fucking good. I felt really skinny. Mm-hmm. And my dad had just gotten in town, and I said to my daughters, my wife, I was like, hey, let's go over and see Nana and Papa and Teddy and my sisters. And they were like, yeah, I don't think we want to go over tonight. And I was like, no, let's do it tonight. I want to see them. And they're like, well, we've got a lot of stuff we want to do. Maybe you can just go. I go, no, let's all go over. And they're like, Dad, we're busy. And I can't believe I said this to my daughters, but I said, hey, I look fucking skinny. I need my dad to see me like this so I can have a good week with him. Mm-hmm. And my daughters were like, what did you just say? And I was like, I haven't eaten all day. I've worked out twice. I look really good right now. My youngest daughter, Isla, is like, Dad, I can't tell the difference between when you think you're skinny and when you think you're fat. You look the exact same. I was like, oh, thanks, honey. My wife pulled me aside and she's like, okay. She's like, we're going over to see your dad. If that's what's going to, mm-hmm. She goes, you got to realize how fucking unhealthy that is, that you haven't eaten all day just so you can see your dad so that you can start this trip on a good foot. And I was like, yeah. It's like, I remember I had a friend one time offer me a bunch of money to get to like 205 pounds. Some friend said, I'll give you this on a text. I bet you this. Mm-hmm. And I said, no, I couldn't do it because I couldn't have with that friend what I have with my dad. And like, yeah. And I have it with Segura in bits and pieces. With
Joe. Answer.
Like when they see me, it's a lot of people, when they see me, it's about my weight first. Mm. And like, it makes me absolutely fucking crazy at times. And I don't mind the jokes. I don't give a fuck about it. And I think sometimes it's inspired me when I was 258 and Joey called me Chinese. And he was like, God, Bert looks Chinese. His fucking eyes. What the fuck's wrong with Bert? Look, when Joey Diaz is saying what the fuck's wrong with Bert, you're like, okay, maybe I should lose some fucking weight. But yeah, it's crazy.
What's your that's your top, like 258 is when you 258 feel
is the
like
biggest I've ever been.
Yeah.
258. I'm probably 225, 230 right now.
That's a good weight.
I would like to be skinnier. I'm working out, but I'm not healthy about losing weight, dude. My easiest way to lose weight ever, and don't think I wasn't contemplating it tonight, is to take a Xanax at like 6 o'clock and just go to bed and wake up skinny. It's not healthy. There's I haven't never learned a healthy way to lose weight.
Avoid food.
Dude, I came home the other night from the store and I had a few drinks and we smoked a joint and I'm in the kitchen and I go, so the math of this is I'm hungry, but just don't eat. Mm-hmm. Oh, cool. That seems healthy. Like,
that's what I do with chew. Like I can just not, I can put a chew in and then I won't eat for hours.
You've never had issues with your weight.
No. But I since getting sober, I definitely like want to eat all the time. When I was drinking, I did not want to eat.
Really?
And I saw like if I do indulge and go 2 weeks with eating, that throws on 10 pounds really fast.
Yeah.
That I don't want, unless it's muscle, like Kumail.
I was just about to say, did you see the fucking hate going back and forth about that?
With who?
Apparently the heir of Disney.
No.
The head of Disney, her last name's Disney.
Edna?
Is that her name? I don't know.
I know there's an Edna Disney. But what was the hate? She didn't think he was hot enough?
No. It is bizarre. Like, hang on. I Googled, I was trying to look for the picture to show my wife, and I Googled Kumail today, and all that came up was this Disney lady. My fucking vision. Has your vision gotten better since you quit drinking?
No.
Kumail looks fucking ridiculous.
He looks amazing.
I've never seen, he's the best looking, he is physically the best looking comic in the business.
Yeah, I mean, did he get like jawline implants or something? I mean, it really, his whole body is.
There's no better, I mean, what's crazy is, I mean, he's bigger and more ripped than Rogan, than Dane at Dane's height. Like when Dane was like going out for action stars, like Chris D'Elia works out, like all these guys that work out and have aspire to action stars. Kumail did it. Like he fucking did it.
Well, he did it with a lot of help, like he said in that, which I really appreciated about that post, because
Disney heiress slams Kumail Nanjiani for his thirsty Instagram photo.
What'd she say?
Oh, apparently she slammed him and then she read what he wrote. Like she was like, first of all, this is, I guess I'm gonna really butcher this, but she was like, seriously, this is just so wrong. Like that, the amount of narcissism that goes into getting your body to look like that. And then Kumail addressed that in his thing. It was like, obviously there's been a lot of, this hasn't been healthy. I've been doing this for a year. I've been obsessed about what I eat and working out.
He's got like, but also like, I mean, think about how much money it costs to have that body, because he talks about the trainers, and I know it. I mean, I've like Chris Pratt, like when I have the same agents and they told me what that was like. And I mean, I have agents that are like, you should really like bulk up. And I'm like, no, I want to look like Sean Connery, James Bond. Like, I want to look like a man. I don't want to look like a guy at a bar or at a gym. I want to just look like a man. And that's going to be better than like looking like Chris Hemsworth, whatever.
Yeah. You know who, by the way, Kumail's bigger than Chris Hemsworth.
That's apparently crazy.
Like they side-by-side pictures, Kumail's bigger than Chris Hemsworth. I
mean, yeah, I love muscles, but I
mean, what kind of shit do you think
I don't love that life.
What kind of shit do you think this tech this tech support guy is going to get into in this movie?
Yeah. I mean, I guess he's probably lifting a lot of computers.
Yeah, he's like, I got this, and he rips a computer out of the wall. I'll be back in a week. What is it party's playing?
But see, it's okay. So like this actually goes to my theory of how I wanted to look. So when I got sober, I was like, listen, I want to be healthy and I want to be sexy and I want to feel good.
Yeah. I
saw somebody and I just walked up to him. I wanted his body. He just looked fucking great. He looked great. And I said, what do you do? And he was like, oh, I climb. He's like, actually, this gym I climb, and they have a gym there, and I do some stuff.
Great fucking bodies.
So now I climb.
For real?
Yeah. And it's like, if you want, so like if you run into Kumail and you're like, how'd you get that body? Oh, a movie studio paid $40,000 for a trainer to work with me, and I have a nutritionist, and like, because that's not a body you just get by committing to working out and running every day. No. Like that's. And I'm not shitting on it at all.
I can't shit on it. I would love to look like that once.
Yeah.
It'll never happen, but I would love to. He's got to feel phenomenal.
I know. I was trying to think, like, what does he feel like when he feels his body? Like, because I know it's been a lot of pain. There's a lot of pain that goes into that.
All the fucking hatred that people shouted at a Pakistani kid in middle school.
I mean, it must feel good to look in the mirror, right?
I wonder if he sees his enemies. Like, because I mean, that guy, that guy that looks like him wasn't nice to him. That was the fucking meathead. That was the meathead in high school. Fucking didn't look at the fucking outsider comic.
Yeah.
Like he's looking in the mirror, seeing his enemies of all. That's a Jersey Shore body. That's a Jersey Shore real world body.
That's beyond.
Oh, hardcore. And those guys don't have his amount of empathy and. Like that guy.
I started breaking down the body too. Like I zoomed in on the shoulders.
I zoomed in on the arms. The veins in the fucking arms are. I don't have veins like that in my cock.
Every muscle has been worked right. It's like somebody has been specific about.
He looks
this.
So, I want to see his
do
legs.
This lift 2 inches high and back down from this part of your stomach. That works out this one fucking muscle.
Yeah,
and we're gonna do that twice a week. Like. talk about commitment.
I mean, it's so funny. It's like, that, I mean, not to, I'm sure Kumail will be like, I think you're way overthinking this. But him and his wife don't have gym rat
No.
relationship.
Kumail's like a video game.
Yeah, they're like two I'm not saying nerds, but they're like two homebodies, like two fucking outsiders. I keep saying outsider, but they're not gym rats. They're not like, yo, pass me the creatine. They're like.
But Kumail's very humble too. I mean, I've kind of forgotten about it because we all get busy and stand up, and I feel like you probably see, because you do that cooking thing, and you probably see comedians more than I do. But I used to all the time. I mean, I was like, and I hadn't been around Kumail in a while, and I did a show with him. I opened a show for him in at the Toronto Fest or something, and at like a big room, and he was nervous, and he was like, I don't know, man, you're gonna kill. He's like, I don't do stand up that much lately. It's been so long. I don't even know, just his humility and the fact that he wasn't jerking off to look at all those fucking people that are here to see me. I'll just say whatever I want and they're going to like it. No, he was back there genuinely concerned and feeling insecure about his prep. And I was just like, man, that's when I like to see my friends that got successful that stay that way and are nice and I don't know, because I've seen a lot of it go the other way, and then you see them all come back down.
I've seen it go the other way with myself. I've seen myself do it, and that's the most frustrating thing for me is that when you do and this is if we're talking about not to go back to alcohol, we're going to talk about the one thing that alcohol has done for me sometimes that I really hate what it does is it starts really strangling my ego or my self-esteem, and I say shit that I wouldn't normally say to protect myself to people that aren't attacking me, and then you see someone like Kumail who really is humble as shit, and you're like, fuck, I bet he toiled over posting that picture because he was like, you got to do it.
Yeah,
you got to do it.
I mean, I think Chris Pratt put the exact picture out when he had gone, because I mean, think about what he was like. He was beyond what Kumail was just normal.
Yeah. Actually, I would argue Kumail has always been fairly muscular. He's always had a man's body.
Yeah. Yeah, he's never, Chris Pratt was kind of pudgy.
Who would you love to see? Top 5 comics you'd love to see go through that exact same transformation and then just be ripped on the other side. Zach Galifianakis would be fucking hilarious.
Yeah. I mean, he's a guy that did lose a lot of weight.
He just quit drinking.
Yeah, he quit drinking, but that was a pretty drastic look, and I think that also now he's kind of back to more of a normal weight. But I'm trying to think who would I really want to see commit? Man, I feel like everybody's trying to do that right now.
Yeah,
everybody's Santino. That guy's ripped.
Theo works out like crazy. There's a lot of guys are. I think it's been a little bit of the influence of having Joe around so much. And
I'd like to see Moshe Kasher.
Oh yeah,
I'd like to see him just fully. He's my neighbor. I would love to. I'd just be able to look over the fence and see a hard body over there.
Was lighting up Kumail a little bit.
I saw that. Yeah, it was really funny.
I don't know Kumail like that. I do know him well enough to text him congratulations and stuff and talk to him when I see him. And I've had him on the podcast. But I don't know him enough to light him up online. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to so bad. I wanted to drop that tech support joke online. But
it's funny, man.
What is the party he's playing? Do you know?
And it's so funny that one of our my friend posted an image of his body and it became a trending topic on Twitter. So that's kind of weird to me.
Dude, at the lightest I was in my I was probably 220. But I looked really good, and I texted a picture in this great lighting. There's great lighting. I texted to Rogan, Tom, and Ari, and Rogan tweeted it, and all of a sudden I had an extra 15,000 followers. And I was like, huh. Then your brain starts going, let's stop eating altogether, Bert, and really see if we can blow this thing out of the water.
As if the weight loss is what they were like, damn, look at this guy's hard body.
Yeah, as if anyone's like, that's why I want to follow. So then do you have rituals for how the night goes? Or do you go after this? You gonna go do spots? Do you go home?
I haven't been doing as many spots around town. Do you?
Yeah, lately I have to write a new hour by January 30th.
I mean, the
So-
store doesn't put me up.
Really?
Yeah. So I don't really like, and I tried actually. I emailed Adam and he wrote back like, "Hey buddy, love you. Everyone loves you, but we just don't have any room."
He said that to me.
And I was like, "Well, if I was more famous, you'd have room. So we'll just wait till I get more famous."
That's what happened to me.
Yeah.
When I first started hanging out there, I was friends with everyone, and Bert and Al Madrigal went over to him and said, "Hey, you got to get Bert in." And it's like one of those things where you're like, "Oh, finally, I'll get in and work here." Because Bill Burr is saying, "Hey, you got to get Bert in."
Mm-hmm.
And he just looked at me dead serious. He's like, "Nope." He's like, "I can't."
I know it's this thing too where you separate. Like he's not being mean.
He's not being mean at all. He's just like, he said, I think if I remember correctly, he said, "Hey, I'm still trying to get David Spade in." So like, he's like, I have a long list of people that have been trying to get into the store, that want to get into the store. And I still have a lot of people that are regulars that I can't just phase out overnight.
Yeah.
And he goes, it's a long process.
I know. And I said back to him like, "Well, hey, just so you know, I'm not going to stop trying."
That's what I said to him. Yeah. And he was like, "Great." And then
I
one
don't
day
know
he came
how
up.
to try though. Like I
don't think I think I didn't. I said, just so you know, I'm not going to stop wanting to be here at the store. So I'm like, I'm not going to hound you or anything, but I'm definitely want. And then he just came up to me one day and he was like, "Hey, I've got room. You're passed." And I was like, "Oh, fuck yeah."
See, I was at like the Cluster Fest or whatever.
Yeah.
And this guy walked up to me and he said, I guess he was the owner. I don't know who owns the Laugh Factory or the Comedy Store ananymore. I can't remember if this guy was the owner or who he was, but he said something like, "I'm an owner." And he said Comedy Store. And I go, "Oh, wait, the Cellar?" And he goes, "No, the Comedy Store." And I go, "Oh, that's right. The Cellar is the club that puts me up." The hardest club to get into in the country is the one that gives me 12 sets a weekend if I email them.
Yeah.
Also, that's because I'm from LA and they don't get like, they always give guys from LA more spots when they come in. But like, I can't get one set at the I can get into any comedy club in this country.
I know. Except
for ones that are the Helium clubs. Because I drunkenly talk major shit.
About Mark?
On your podcast, I think.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. Oh, well.
Oh, Mark, lighten up.
I think I tried to apologize, even though it's this weird thing where I don't feel like I need to apologize because I feel like it's kind of, we both fucked up.
Yeah. I think
I shouldn't have said shit. He should have also treated the situation a little better. We both fucked up. Maybe we should both apologize to each other.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it just takes the first person to open their arms.
I tried to be the first guy, which is funny, but he said, he went back to my agent, like, nope. He talked bad about me on Bert's podcast.
On Bert's podcast. Fuck, now by the way, I can't wait to go back and rewatch that last podcast.
The last one I did, I think, was me and Brendan. And I think I got blackout. I don't remember it very well.
Really? I don't remember it.
So
was Brendan
I'm
drinking?
glad I'm really glad your audience will finally hear me sober.
Oh, they're gonna be like, the thing I think that's cool about podcasts, and the thing that I think is very, very cool about this one is, if anything, this whole weight loss journey of mine has been inspiring to a lot of people that I did not intend it to be.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of people going through a lot of the problems. I think there's a lot of people that are addicted to pills and alcohol listening to this right now going like, fuck, man, I got to get my shit together. Like, how do I want to be happy. I want to be on the other side of that fence.
Yeah.
And I think it happens a lot. I know for a fact, the reason we do Sober October is because so many people hit us up November 1st. Some people come to our shows and go, "Hey man, I've been off oxys for 15 days now." And you're like, "Huh?" And like, I have never had this much sobriety in my life.
How many people do you think join you with that?
I couldn't even begin to speculate. I mean, Rogan's outreach is so aggressive that I would say, I mean, if maybe I'd be fair, maybe 5% of the people.
Yeah.
Which would still be a dickload of fucking people.
Mm-hmm.
I get a lot of people that come to my shows all during Sober October, all did it. A lot of people fell off Sober October at my show. They're like, "I was with you and then you came," and I was like, "Fuck it. I'm not going to not drink at your show." And I was like, "I'll give you that one."
Yeah. I mean, the thing is like cheating, I mean, for me, there's no cheating because cheating would, if I were to have like a cheat day with alcohol, would not end well.
I can't. I've gotten better about, I used to be like 100% on, 100% off.
Mm-hmm.
So like I could go big stretches of drinking, but if I started drinking, I was probably going to go for a chunk where it was going to, wine at night or, drinking on flights. This last sober October changed me in that I got back and I was like, oh, I'm good. I don't want to drink during the weekdays. I want to kind of have my shit together and get shit done. And I think it was also because I was so busy. And then I was like, yeah, and I kind of want to, like, leading up to the special, I don't want to drink before the special too much. So I'll do it on the couple weekends, but I'm not doing it during the weekdays. And then I didn't drink for like 2 weeks leading up to the special. And then I got off and I was like, I deserve a little bender. And now,
but how do you feel though about that? Because when I taped my last special, I was like, all right, I should like straighten up. And I was like, wait, why would I live any differently than I'm living to film this thing that I've been doing? Maybe I should just be a little more, responsible and not like go overboard. But I can't change my lifestyle too much because then I won't be putting out my product is what in my mind.
I definitely had that in my head. I definitely thought, should I drink? But here's a hardcore secret time. The month leading up, I did 3 months straight of touring before I shot my special. September, October, November.
Mm-hmm.
September, I was drinking, and I was drinking on the road. Not so much on stage, but on the road. And I started having panic attacks on stage of just these weird hiccups. And I wasn't being able to write on stage and I wasn't liking it. And I thought, fuck. And then I quit drinking in October and I was on stage. I did maybe like 40, 50 shows in October and all the panic attacks went away. And I started really loving being on stage and writing and without drinking. And so I said, I'm done. I'm done with drinking on stage. I'm not going back to it. I don't want to be there because I was having weird panics that I like, and that was fucking up the timing of my jokes.
But at least it's not like the Huffington Post emailing you the next day, like, hey, we want to talk to you about your show last night and something you said. Like, you're not saying things.
No. I'm not going off script too far, but like
that happened to me.
That happened to you with the Huffington Post?
Yeah.
Wait, what did you say?
I'm not even going to touch it.
For real?
Yeah. It was at Montreal though, and I regret it for sure.
Really?
Yeah. And people saw it, and I guess the funny thing, this is how
did they write an article about it?
No, no one ever did. Like Eric Andre, like this is how you know what you did. And I love Eric, but he came up to me, he's like, hey man, I heard about that thing you did in Montreal, dude. That's so fucking punk rock, dude. And I'm like, what? And he's like, dude, it's fucking amazing. And I'm like, and then Jesselnick, same thing, ran another place. And I was like, okay, maybe those are the two guys I don't want approving of something I've done in general to what my brand and my message is, or me as a human. Not that I think those guys are punk, like,
oh, fuck yeah,
fucking hardcore shit. Especially Eric. I mean, there's nothing between the lines there. I mean, there's
nothing corporate about that guy at all.
No.
He's such an interesting fucking guy.
Yeah.
I want to say me and Skura were on a flight with him back to, it was me and Ari. Me and Ari were on a van ride from Montreal back to the airport. And then we hung out at the airport and had breakfast together. And just the way his brain thinks is just very, I want to say it's the way I would love for my brain to be like that. Like I said something about, you have a girlfriend? He's like, no, I don't believe in, those traditional commitment roles. I just like to be with other people. And if they want to be with other people, cool. And you knew he meant it. And I was like, how the fuck do you do that?
Weird.
Yeah. And he was like,
Yeah. One time I was walking like in like the Lower East Side, and there was like some kind of a small production, and there was a van with a door open, and I walked by the van, and it was Eric dressed as a vagina with like lobster claws. Jesus. I was like, of course, man. Yeah. What's up?
I wish I had more of his brain, because his brain is so much like, if like someone gave him $1 million, say, we want to make a show with you, it's whatever you want. He'd go, oh, I've been waiting for this.
Yeah.
Like that's the way his brain works. When I get that, it's sometimes I'm just like, hold on, well, what do you want? Like, why don't you give me some direction?
Yeah.
I don't want to piss anyone off.
Yeah. And he also, he I don't know, like his show is great. Like the Eric Andre show
dick.
is so
He's
funny.
got such a big dick.
Flaccid.
Yeah, I've never seen it hard.
Yeah.
It's probably same.
It's, it's about the same.
Well, I don't want Eric to ever know anything I do stand-up wise. I'd like to stay out of his radar, because if he's watching anything I do, that's not good news for the B-man. If Eric Andre's texting me,
He's
hey,
like,
man, I
"Hey,
saw
man."
what you did, I'm like, fuck.
I know. I went. I mean, and I did a little bit of an apology to her about that thing, or at least like the feel out, like feeling people out, is like Chelsea Pritt, like just certain people had heard about it, and I kept hearing from other people like, oh, so and so told me, and I'm like, why does that person know?
Yeah.
This is crazy.
God, I want to wrap up this podcast now until I find out what it is.
You're gonna love it.
No, I don't want to talk about Mitch Hedberg at all. By the way, I just played Mitch Hedberg for my daughters the other day.
Yeah.
And it was interesting. Their two responses. Isla was doubled over laughing. Like, thought it was the funny. And Isla's the more of the weird daughter of mine. And Georgia just was like, so he's a drug addict? And I was like, well, I think you're whittling it down a little bit much. And she was like, well, no, is he still on drugs? Like, he died from an overdose. And she's like, so this isn't funny at all. And I was like, well, no. And Isla's fucking pissing herself. Mitch all together. Yeah. But it's funny to see the two different. I want to do that. I wish I were a little older. I'd like to hear Georgia with Dave Attell, because I think she will like Dave Attell.
Oh man, I saw Attell recently in New York.
By the way, I could sit and talk to anyone for any length of time if they just said, I just saw Attell end. Because you know that we just shared jokes. I was just somewhere and we were sharing. I was with Bill. We were sharing our favorite Attell jokes. Who told the one? Were you here when someone just told an Attell joke the other day? Apparently there were a bunch of, maybe this is one Bill told me. There were a bunch of disgruntled Latino girls in the front row, and they weren't laughing at anything. And everyone was having a hard time with them. Everyone. And Attell goes up and goes, oh, why so grumpy? Did Selena die again?
He said a joke. I don't remember. I mean, I'm so bad at recall from much, but he told a joke, and then afterwards, you know how he'll get the audience going like, and he's just kind of going and going, like shitting on the audience, also like trying to, whatever. But he said a joke and he goes, ooh, that one just activated my Bell's palsy. I thought, what the fuck, man?
He's so good.
So
Bert and I just talked about
impossible
him for a
to
while.
not want to watch when he's on stage.
I wonder when I'm going to quit drinking. Like, I look at like you and Bert seem to be so fucking happy on the other side of the fence, and I do enjoy not drinking a lot.
Yeah.
Like, but
here's the thing: is it when the real joy comes when you actually have, like, I know I'm done, and so I'm doing the work to, like, everything that I was drinking to stop, or everything that I was using drinking for, or everything that drinking kind of ruined. Now I have a chance to not like do that, like even when I said about the holidays, like I know that I'm going home and I'm not going to fuck up. I'm not going to do something really fucking dumb. I'm not going to piss in my mother-in-law's bedroom. I'm not going to do multiple things that I've done. I mean, this is I was remembering this the other day. In hotels, I had to start, and towards the end of my run, I had to start putting all of my things on the highest shelf possible, because I was just starting to piss in hotels every night.
Really?
Different parts of the room. On my bag sometimes. That's why I had to like fucking... Like, I've had to rush to an airport with a bag that's like, just smells like piss. Fuck.
It's crazy too. What's crazy is you said that your doctor was like, wait, so how's your Lyme disease?
Oh, done. Good. Yeah.
You're good.
I caught it early enough, and we've aggressively went at it. And if I didn't get sober, I wouldn't have gotten rid of it, because getting sober made the actual antibiotics work.
Oh, because you had to quit drinking to get on antibiotics.
I was on antibiotics before that, but that's drinking
work.
Just throws that out the window. Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Burr's not doing any of the work. He just got sober.
Yeah.
I don't think Bert drank though. Burr's never been a drinker.
He's never looked like,
He's never gotten out of control, and he says he has. And I think, I think there's times where I think he didn't like the way he was drinking, but it's never been like a problem.
Yeah.
And I've drank with him. He's he wasn't a guy that, although I remember me and Tom and Bert did a podcast in here, and he goes, and it's one of those things, like, I don't really, I don't really think of drinking as much as some people, but I remember I was definitely not going to drink. I don't know why, but for whatever reason, I wasn't going to drink. And they're driving home, and Burr goes, "How about a little shot?" And towards the end of the podcast, I'm like, "Why would we start drinking now?" He's like, "One shot." And Tom goes, "Well, wait, we got to drive." He goes, "Yeah, we'll make the drive home interesting, huh?" And you just to see that in his eye, you go,
Yeah.
"Oh,
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, he doesn't.
That's like me walking in saying, "Can I just take a pull off this thing?"
I'll never forget that as long as I live, because I remember going like, it's weird. I think I wonder if you did this, but I think people who drink always look at the other people who drink harder or worse and go, "That's my canary in the mine."
Yeah. Hey, at least that's not me.
Yeah, but I always look at my canaries and go, like, I could steal from them. That's not a bad idea. Like, oh, okay. Like,
yeah. Well, it got to me like my canary was Nick Cage and whatever that fucking movie, Leaving Las Vegas or whatever that movie is. That's how bad I was. I'm
so glad you're sober. Someone told me you quit drinking, and I was like, oh, that stinks. We lost another one. And then someone was telling me like, no, it wasn't good. I was like, really? And they're like, no, it was not good. Like, he had to quit. And I went, what do you mean had to quit? Like, court imposed? And they're like, no, trust me, he was going to die if he didn't quit. And I went, no, you're thinking of the wrong guy. I heard that about another guy recently.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. We'll talk about it off air, obviously. But, and you always hear that and you're like, shut the fuck up.
But it's, thank God I figured it out, because you can just see, for me, and this isn't for everybody, but everything's better. Just literally everything's better.
Yeah.
My career is better. I haven't stopped working since I got sober.
You've always worked.
Yeah, always, but it was starting to peter out,
Really?
Because I wasn't able to go to auditions anymore. I wasn't able to do things because
you're such a good actor too.
I was drunk.
Like, you're a great comedian. You're a great comedian. I think that people sleep on how good of a comedian you were. I think one of your lines, fucking once a week, I think of one of your lines.
Yeah.
Sir, if you have cocaine or marijuana on you, you are in deep shit. And all I thought to myself is, what if I have both? It's a great fucking line. I think of that all the time. I look for lines like that in my act. Like a good line.
Yeah. Yeah. That line just came out one time on that taping of that thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I remember right when I said it, I was like, that's a fucking keeper.
That's a great line.
When you get a line like that on a TV taping too, it feels good.
Yeah.
Because I was like starving. Somebody had just bombed so hard in front of me, they had to retape their thing with a different audience.
For real?
Yes. And so the audience.
I think I was at your taping. Taping.
Yeah. I'm not going to say who it was, but.
Stanhope has a line I think about once a week that he said on that taping. Stanhope says, I was dating this chick. He was dating the chick from Saved by the Bell.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, and she cheated on me. Now, legally, I can't say his name, but I can tell you what he does for a living. He's the Prince of Monaco. Legally, I can't say his name.
That's a great living.
I can tell you what he does for a living. He's the Prince of Monaco.
That's great. That's a good job.
How often do you go rock climbing?
4 times a week, 3-4 times a week.
Have you gone like legit, like climbing, like
no,
big boulders
just in the
or anything?
gym.
Just in the gym. Do you have any interest in going in big boulders?
I do. I mean, I would love to.
There's a great one
I love
Malibu.
Camping, and I love taking my son, especially into mountain type stuff. So
your dad works. You've stepped your dad game up. I will say that.
Oh yeah.
Like seeing you with your son. I said this at the beginning, but it's like, especially as an older father, like one who's got, my kids are at an age where it's hard to get them to do things with me now. The time I get to spend with them is when I pick them up from school or drive them to school.
Yeah.
Like that. They don't want to go fucking, like I wanted to go to, I had to go to Staples today, and I was just trying to get Hyla to go to Staples with me. It was like pulling fucking teeth. And I was like, well, stop by Menchie's. She's like, okay, fine. But like seeing you with your son, I go, oh, and I know you weren't drinking. So I go, oh, he's like going to a Dodgers game with them. Like, you guys have a fucking blast.
Yeah. My son's been to 2 World Series games, which I think, like, I mean, I wish I had been to World Series games.
Yeah.
But yeah, I try to. I mean, I really try. But also, it's just like I don't know if I'll ever be as good at what my dad was, like that. I think that is like my thing that I'm chasing. Like, yeah, I do all these activities with him, but my dad didn't really get to do activities with me because he worked way more of a regular job. But for some reason, he's like regarded as a hero in my life.
Hey, by the way, I just had a spiritual healer come to our new house. To cleanse the house, and then she's like, I see some dark matter on you. And I was like, oh, fuck, of course.
Good God.
Yeah. And so then
thanks, by the way.
Yeah, I was like, at $150 a pop, I bet you find dark matter on anyone that you haven't fucking cleansed. But one of the things she said was, you have tremendous guilt about not being around. And I was like, you could have Googled me and found that out.
Yeah.
But I doubt she uses Google. I really doubt it, because she uses a Microsoft Surface. And so she legit does her healing on a Microsoft Surface.
Wow.
It's really bizarre.
How does she?
She takes the Microsoft Surface, and it's got looks like a constellation, like almost like a astrological chart on it type thing. And she spins this little gem connected by a chain. And then whatever way it spins, she taps that way and that expands. She taps another way and that expands, and then she can read it that way. Really interesting. She was extremely accurate. Like,
I thought you were going to say hot.
Nope.
She was extremely accurate.
She was very accurate, and she was like, you have a real guilt about being away from your kids. And I said, yeah. And she goes, and that's not from you. That's ancestral. Like, that goes back to your ancestors. And she's like, you got to get rid of it because you're a good dad. And I was like, no, I'm not. She goes, no, you got to stop saying that. She goes, your dad wasn't as good as you thought he was. You think your dad was a better dad. You putting on a pedestal is not exactly what she said, but when you said that, that's technically what she said to me. And I thought, I've always put my dad on a pedestal. He coached every single one of my fucking games, went to every one of my practices. Literally, I mean, I like just Saturday morning, he'd be like, hey, let's go to the sporting goods store. And we'd just get up and drive out. I mean, I just a great, great, great dad. I mean, never, I mean, spanked me a couple times, but never like hit me as an adult. Never, didn't it really get me introduced to alcohol. Like, he wasn't like one of those like, hey, Jordan, come drink with me. He had boundaries. Like, I could smoke a cigar with him. And when I was 18, but I had to be 18. Like, a really great dad, and I always feel like I've dropped the ball on my daughters. I've just fucked it up.
Same thing with me about the like boundaries, good, clean.
Yeah.
But like I also know your daughters though are at the age I don't know from experience, but like my son right now is like now going through a mom thing where like he wants his mom a lot. I don't know what she's feeding him. I don't know if she's got some sort of a drug regimen with him or not. But like he'll be like, hey, when am I going to see mom? And I'm like, who cares, man? You're with me.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out later.
Carpe diem.
But, I was talking to somebody like, yeah, kids go through phases where their dad, their mom, they want this, they want that.
I went through a phase with my daughters that was really bad, where when they started developing and, getting their periods and getting boobs and getting pubic hair, or I guess I didn't see it, but I'm guessing that was what was happening, where they really wanted to distance themselves from me.
Do pubes run in your family?
Yeah, we all got them. Leanne's got straight pubes, and so I know, right? Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
I'm sure Leanne's like, why would you share that in the like? What the fuck does that have to do with anything? But they started distancing themselves from me, and they just wanted distance. They didn't like. I was like their best buddy one day, where they'd jump on my lap and we'd snuggle, and then one day they were like, "Oh, don't touch me!" Like, and my wife's like, "Well, you got to understand. Don't touch them if they don't want you to touch them." I was like, "They're my fucking daughters. I'm gonna grab them if I want to grab them." Not grab them in the ass or anything, but come up behind them and give them a hug, or I'm going to love on them. And my wife's like, you can't. They're turning into women. You got to let them have space. And I literally said to my wife, I always thought this could be a bit, but I don't know how to say it right. But I always said, so I got to pretend to be just not that into them. And my wife's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? She's like, you're not breaking up with them. You're not trying to win them back.
You're not playing dating games.
Yeah, I was like, and so I literally started playing hard to get, where I'd be like,
so you mean like after we hang out, I don't call him for like 3 days?
Yeah. That's the joke. Yeah. That's the joke. Text Isla, hey, what does Georgia think about me? Oh, yeah, but it was really tough. And now they're getting back to the place where they are finding me fun, I guess. I don't, but it just recently, our family's in a really good place. Like we're all very, very, very dialed in to each other. But yeah, but we just had a conversation the other day because no one hugs me. So like everyone fucking hugs each other and gets on the couch, and all three of them will lay on the couch and snuggle together. And then I'm just off by some sore dick in the corner. Like I'll just pay for all this. And so I threw a temper tantrum. I was like, yo, like you guys can hug me and shit. Like, and Isla was like, I don't like it. And I was like, I don't give a fuck. I didn't like kissing my dad on the lips, but I did until I was 18.
Oh,
fucking,
God.
I had to kiss my dad not on the lips, but on the cheek every night when I came home to bed. And I still, I want to say I kissed my dad on the lips way longer than you should have, but I had to kiss my dad on the cheek every night when I got home.
You think
it
was just because he wanted to smell your breath?
He wanted to smell if I had alcohol or drugs on me. Hey, buddy, I need a kiss. And I go, oh Jesus. Fuck. And he goes, woo, a lot of cologne tonight, huh? I was like, yeah, hanging out with some chicks. Yeah, that's fucking crazy. So when do you go back for holidays?
Next week, and then I come back, and then I'm doing like a 2-week tour.
Are you by yourself, or are you bringing your kid
on the tour?
No,
the holidays. Yeah, up there. Yeah.
How's everything? Are you still not with? Are you with the missus?
No, but that's all.
Figuring it out.
Yeah.
I fucking love you, Nick. I really do. I'm so glad you're happy, man.
Oh yeah,
I'm so glad you're happy.
Never been happier.
It's
a weird. Once I've had enough. I ran into Hannibal, who hasn't been drinking, and he was like, "We did it, man." I'm like, "Yeah, we did, right? We really did it. We made it."
I hung out with Hannibal. I hung out with Hannibal a couple years ago. It's got to be a couple years ago. I was at Madison on State, and he was doing the theater next door. He had a tour bus, and I was partying, and I was like, "Hey, let's get drinks." He's like, "Yeah, I quit drinking." I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Let's just, when you get done, just hang out. Like, we don't have to go to a bar. Let's just hang out. Come to my tour bus." So we just went to his tour bus and just kind of talked, and I had a couple beers, and I think he maybe ate an edible or something, but like we just talked, and it was like broke it down. And he's like, "Yeah, I guess his life had just become unmanageable with it."
Yeah.
And he was like, he's like, "Fuck it. It's not worth it." And I was like, wow. Sometimes I wish that happened to me. With like, I think I'm in the fucking, I'm like in love with someone who doesn't love me, but they don't treat me too bad.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not necessarily, you're not seeing negative. I mean, you're doing the best you've ever done on the road, as far as work goes. So it's not hindering that. It hasn't changed your drive to do shit. I mean, you've always had that. I mean,
yeah, but I think also
the fact that you have people helping with your podcast now, I remember it's just like you and a Zoom, and then we.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, for real? Wait, the last one we did was right before you came?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. But I got video of it, don't I?
Yeah, but you would have everything set up, and you'd be like, "I got to send this to a guy," or I don't know.
I did it myself back then.
Yeah, I think. Yeah,
I did it all myself. Oh, and then I'd have like backlogs of like 20 videos. I was like, "Oh, Halston, I've got fucking 20 videos. Can you?"
Yeah, I remember you like had stuff like you were like, "Oh, it's moving slow." I'm like, how much was he doing?
Oh, this podcast has become doable. I wouldn't have been able to continue it without Halston, because that was just so much on my plate, and then things kind of like got a little out of control with the touring, and I was like, I just would have quit it. I would have quit the podcast altogether. And this podcast makes more than I ever made on television. So I'm like, fuck, I'm so glad I didn't quit it.
Yeah.
Now I have 2 more podcasts, one with Bill and one with Tom.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I feel like if you don't get out of the box, it's something you've done always so well, is you've done things like movies that I didn't even know, like no one even knew you were shooting. Like the one where built all the boxes and built the fort. Like you've always been able to do things outside of your comfort zone and do the things inside. You know what I mean? Which I feel like I get too dialed into my comfort zone of like, something's burning, podcast, stand up. That's it. I'm done.
Yeah, but see, for it, the way that I treat that movie was my agent calling me and saying like, "Hey, you meet with these directors," and I did, and they're like, "It's gonna take a month, work every day." I'm like, well, fuck it, 1 month, who cares? I don't think I'm capable of acting like what you guys want, but let's just see what happens. And then just walking into it. And I've done that with every acting gig where I just shot this HBO thing in New York for 3 weeks with Anna Kendrick, and it was just like overwhelming because she's a ridiculously good actress.
She's a really good actress.
I mean, I felt like I saw
Anna
acting
Kendrick
for the first time in
next
person.
fucking level.
Yeah.
I mean, I think what are they, Target commercials? She's got like a Target commercial.
Oh yeah, new ones that she's
Amazon commercial or something that's fucking amazing. Like those are amazing. She acts amazing in that.
Well, I went when they flew me out to just read with her like during her lunch break, and after one take, I thought like, oh fuck, that's what acting is. Like whatever I had planned to do or had gone in like thinking, she forced me to be so natural and do my own different thing. And I told her that like when I got back, I was like, when I got the job, I said, I don't know whatever you did that first time we read to each other has changed and she's like, what do you mean? You're a great actor. And I'm like, what? No. She's like, you so listen. I'm like, no, you're forcing that on me. Like
you're talking to me with your eyes.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to hook up. I mean, Jesus, she is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
She really is awesome.
Yeah. It was interesting to do, but it was fun.
Her Twitter's pretty fucking gangster too, isn't it?
Yeah.
She's got a pretty aggressive, I think she's one of the ones that I went down a rabbit hole and read all of them.
I mean, just the fame of her too. Like we were shooting in Tarrytown or something and walking on the street and she was like, look, there's paparazzi. And I'm like, what? There's like all like within an hour we're on the Daily Mail, like us holding hands, even though we're in a scene. It's like Anna Kendrick and Nick Thune holding hands on set, which is so like, well, yeah, on set shooting.
Yeah.
But everyone is like, dude, are you dating Anna Kendrick? You guys are like holding hands off camera?
That's
like,
crazy. When's that thing come out?
I think in April, HBO Max
can you say what it is or not yet?
HBO Max.
No, I know what HBO Max is, but what's this project? Can you talk about
it? It's her show. Yeah, it's out there. It's called Love Life.
Yeah.
And it seems like a great, it's like each episode's like a vignette of her love life in her 20s. Like each one's like a different guy. And then my character is in 3 because we get married and then,
Really?
Yeah.
Did you get to kiss her?
Yeah.
Oh, is she a good kisser?
It's so hard to know.
What do you mean?
Because it's not. This is what I try to explain to anybody. It's like, it's not it's real kissing, but
here, show me
the nerves, the nerves that I have or am going through. Like, yeah, there was a scene where there's a couple scenes where I had to be like going crazy, like I'm, having sex, and she's like, kind of not whatever and paying attention, and I'm like going at it,
Yeah.
And God, a rehearsal was so rough. And she's like, did you want to put like a pillow between us? And I was like, yes. Thank you. Just because now I'm, it was just like, just comfort. Like, yes. Okay. This is work. We're working. Yeah. This is job, but it's intense.
I did a short called Alpha Male. Mm-hmm. Where I was a mailman, and me and this other guy were competing for the head job of running the head of mail in the postal service. And I had one sex scene, and I'm a young married father at the time. I'm maybe 34, 33, 34, and it shot right around the corner from our house. So I was like really close to home, and I'm in tight mail shorts. Like mailman shorts that are way too high for me.
Yeah,
to begin with.
I mean, you probably fall out of those.
Yeah, and so we have a sex scene. Wish I could remember this girl's name.
It's like Dolly Parton in a bikini.
And this girl was so fucking hot, so hot.
Oh yeah.
And she takes her top off, and I'm on top of her. She takes her top off, and she's in panties. I don't know why she needed to be in panties, and we're in the bed, and I have the pants on, and we start going at it, and I haven't been with another woman other than my wife, and we're like, I'm trying to be funny, but I'm like really grinding, and she's grinding back, and her tits are right there, and she's like licking on me, and my dick pops out the bottom of my pants hard, and just like, oh, we're fucking, and I'm like, I'm so uncomfortable that I'm like, oh, I gotta cut, and they're like, wait, it's going great, and I'm like, yeah, I need to reposition. I think things are, and someone's like, did your dick get hard? And I was like, no. I'm totally cool. Just give me a second. She's like, well, come on, just hop back on. We were going really good. I'm really in the scene. And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I'm going to fucking come all over this chick. Fucking and cut.
Yeah,
she was so fucking hot.
I didn't
too.
get aroused, luckily. Like, it's because it's so businessy, and she was so professional. But I had a friend that has a story of he got hard, and he in a scene, and he was like, "I'm so sorry" to the actress, and she was, I think definitely this is this specific actress. I think other actresses might respond differently, but she said that she would have been offended if he didn't.
Who was the actress?
I don't even know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But like, I know that like that's totally inappropriate to get an erection, even though there's nothing appropriate about what you're doing.
Yeah. There's nothing.
No. And like, I understand when, like on my level of acting, like it's hard to separate.
Yeah.
But working with Anna, I actually got better at learning how to separate real emotions. Like, really just separate this. This isn't a sex scene. Like, how, because my job was basically to make it sexy, for like, because it's probably going to be a large women audience and they want like a guy to look hot fucking.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, what are things that I could do that are going to like look good on camera? Like just quick motions, like little things that they can cut into and out of. I started technically thinking about it, which I think really helped.
This is how unprofessional I am. I once did a scene. I'll be very vague so no one can figure this out. On one of my reality shows, it was in water and it was with a woman, and the woman was maybe not prepared to go in the water, and so all she was wearing was like a t-shirt and a pair of like board shorts. But the board shorts were way too big on her because she wasn't prepared, and so she just dropped them for a pair of underwear, if I'm not mistaken. And she got scared. Her boyfriend was there. She got scared and she jumped on my back and wouldn't get off my back. And our director was like, hey, we need to separate you two because this doesn't look right because your boyfriend's right here. And she was drunk and she kept swinging around to the front of me so that it was like she was riding me. And we were in water and her tits are everywhere. They're all over me. And
it's something that I think about every day.
And once again, my dick gets hard, and I'm like, I'm not trying to, but I'm like, she kept putting her feet on my junk. She kept putting her feet on my junk and playing with my junk with her feet. I don't know if she was flirting with me. I don't know what it was.
Or nothing if she even knew what she was doing.
She was definitely drunk, and they got out of the water, and I was still in the water, and we're supposed to get in a boat. And my director's like, come on, get in the boat. And I was like, you gotta give me a second. She's like, why? What the fuck? She's like, what, are you pissing? And I went, no. She was like, get in the boat. And I was like, I can't right now. She was like, just get in the fucking boat. And I was like, you gotta give me a fucking second. I'm not ready to get in the boat. My cameraman or my sound guy, John Sales, goes, his dick's hard. She's like, what? He's like, all our dicks were hard. We were watching her bounce around.
Man, I had to do one time with Ron Howard watching.
Ron Howard got your dick hard. I did a scene with Ron Howard. Wait, what did you do with Ron Howard?
No, Ron Howard was producing this pilot that I shot that never went years ago for Fox. And I had this like full makeout scene inside the back of an RV in like 96-degree weather in Florida. And we were in the back of like, the back of an RV where it's like the whole thing's a bed. There's not like room to walk around the fucking bed. And I'm wearing tight ass jeans and I'm doing a makeout scene where I'm like supposed to grab her boobs. And like, that's in the script and it's all talked about and beforehand worked out so that everybody's comfortable and on the same page. But it was unstoppable. And
it's you can't, no matter what.
Like, God damn it, Ron Howard, and
it's not Buffalo 66 like we're making the person suck our dick for the scene. It's just natural. It happens sometimes. I'm sure it happens to like big actors has happened. And I think that's probably why Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie.
I think it's definitely something everyone doesn't talk about. It's regular. I mean, people hook up. I mean, actors are all hooking up. What a cesspool.
I mean, it's got to be nice to know this is probably, I'm sure I could get Me Too'd for this, even thought, but it would be nice to know, like, there's no real flagpole that pops when a woman's turned on. You can't really tell as a guy, like if you're turning a woman on, But it would be nice to have that just like literally dick goes up and you're like, well, I guess I did it for that guy. And to know that, okay, now I know I could definitely get what I want from him because he's,
Yeah. I'm
sure that's a horrific statement to say in Hollywood now. But what I'm saying is I would just love to know that something was happening with my wife. Like that she was aroused at all. My wife definitely knows when I'm aroused.
Well, anybody would if you're wearing, sweats or yeah. I mean, I remember I was at a party and a girl walked up to me and she just grabbed me and said, "Hi, my name is so-and-so," and just looked at me in my eyes and then walked away. And I looked at my friend and I go, that was amazing. I wish everybody said hi like that in some way or another. Whereas like I obviously didn't feel physically threatened, like she was bigger than me and she was going to take advantage of me. But at the same time, really fucking inappropriate on her part.
Oh yeah.
Taking a big swing.
I had 4 lesbians do it to me at the DC Improv.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They were taking a picture and my arms are behind all 4 of them. And the one up front grabs my junk. And I was like, whoa, ladies. And they're like, oh, we can't sexually assault you. We're gay. And I was like, all right. And they were really attractive. And the other one grabs, my arms are still back there. And I'm like, girls. And then one girl goes, I think he's starting to get hard. And then the other girl takes her hand and shoves it in my pants. And now my dick's like, oh, we're playing ball. And I'm like, hey, guys. They leave. The next people come up and they're like, this is really uncomfortable.
You're like, the morals are up here.
Yeah.
Down here is it just go time all the time.
Oh, yeah. This is simply the guy that lives in the silo that presses the button.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm sorry. We're at war. Conk.
I know. It's kind of that feeling like sometimes I feel like if I'm sitting down, like on my phone on a bench or something at an airport, texting, what in my body is saying, hey, he's not shitting right now. Everybody go back. Like there's got to be one guy in there that's like, pants are on. He's outside. Nope. I know it. Everything feels like we're shitting. So like the same, I don't think there is that guy for the dick.
Pants are on. We're not shitting.
So like if a hand goes down there and grabs it, they're just, the dick's like, hey, something's grabbing it. Let's do what we do.
We're on. Game on. Car.
The guy's waking up, slamming his alarm. Like,
God.
Who's calling me at fucking 3 p.m?
Jesus. I'm definitely having sex with my wife tonight. I even just this conversation, I start going, yeah, I'm ready. Yeah. Well, dude, this has been awesome. I could sit and talk to you for fucking hours.
Yeah, man.
I absolutely love you. I'm so happy that you're doing well.
Thank you.
I wish I had known it had been that bad. I would have reached out more. I didn't even know.
There's no way to know, I
had no clue.
Yeah.
But
and what do you do in those situations?
I would have just fucked it up. I would have just been the wrong guy to reach. Maybe I'm not the best guy to reach out with 1 month sober. Like, hey, man, do you want to talk? And then I come over. I'm like, man, you should have been with us last night, huh? Even the guy with the Babylon 5 t-shirt got a blowjob. David Tell. Even the guy with the Babylon 5 t-shirt got a blowjob.
Oh, my God.
Well, fuck yeah. What? Anything to promote? You got dates coming up?
Oh, yeah. This tour in January, which is like the 15th.
By the way, that was the most seamless 2-hour podcast I've ever fucking done in my life.
Really?
That is the most seamless 2-hour conversation I've ever. The first hour was probably one of the best podcasts I've ever done. Like when we just talking about that, because I was listening. I never fucking listen on this podcast.
That's what you do. That's what Anna Kendrick did for me. Help me listen. But yeah, I'm doing a tour with Damien Gerardo, a musician. So we're doing like rock club, kind of like small theaters, up and down the East Coast.
Nice. When's that start?
NickThune.com ticket. This January 15th.
Okay, that's going to be awesome.
Yeah.
How many dates?
I think we're doing 12.
Nice. And then
12, and then and that's just like we're co-headlining. Just we're going to go up together and then do our own things.
That's great. And then what's the name of the musician you said that your friend that died?
Richard Swift.
I'm going to get that now.
And Richard Swift actually is the reason that Damien Gerardo, the guy that I'm touring with, and I are together, because we're both friends of Richard's, and then that kind of brought us together through the memorial and all that stuff.
All right, which one do I get? The Hex, the Richard Swift
the
collection?
Hex. Listen, the Hex is his masterpiece. That's the last thing that came out after he died.
That came out after he died?
Yeah.
All right, I just bought it.
But if you go like on Spotify and just listen to like his top songs,
Yeah.
The song Dirty Jim on there, you're going to really relate to because you have daughters.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a line in that song. That song, Dirty Jim, is about, is it Jimador? What's that tequila? The Jimador, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
That's what it's about, is that tequila.
Really?
And but he says, when I die, tell my daughters not to cry at the end of it.
Oh,
But it's one of his best.
He's going to get me drunk.
One of his best songs I've ever heard, to be honest. Dirty Jim.
And he died at 44?
Yeah.
In Tacoma, Washington. Did you grow up with him?
No, but we that's kind of the Northwest is kind of what brought us together. I did 4 studio songs on my first album. On, if anybody's going to check one of those out, just listen to the song Iron Man. And Richard and I wrote that, and he produced it. And I spent like a week living with him and doing this album because he produced a lot. He played in the Black Keys. He played in the Shins. He had his own solo career. I mean, the guy is like, he's like the musicians. He's like Brody Stevens or somebody where it's like everybody loves, all the musicians like respect Richard so much.
That's fucking great.
Yeah.
Oh, I just bought the Hex, so I'll listen to that on the treadmill tonight. I'm definitely having a sober night tonight. I guess I can't even take a fucking Xanax now. I'm gonna be overthinking it.
Don't overwork on the treadmill if you're gonna fuck.
Oh yeah, good call.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta fucking take a shower. Well, dude, congratulations.
Yeah, thank you,
Richard Swift. And then let's do this again when you get back from your tour.
Yeah,
in February.
Love it.
That'd be great, man.
Yeah, watch.
Congrats,
I'm drinking again.